Okay, we have a really, really good one for you today. We're going to talk a little bit more about burnout, about how we have to prove ourselves or feel that we have to prove ourselves along the way. We are meeting with Alisha Boulter. She's a business coach, and she now helps women scale their business without trading time for money because she has a story to tell. She was making $20,000 days, was sitting in actual burnout. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about what that looked like for her, the signs to look out for so you don't get stuck in it, because it's very much like any other, I'm going to say, mental health disorder. I have a background in social work, so I can say that. Where once you're in it, you have no idea you're in it until you get out of it, until you start getting the help to get out of it. So we're going to be the little guiding light, the North Star for you guys to start putting little things down to say, hey, this might look like I'm heading towards burnout. Welcome, Alisha. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Whenever I have somebody on, I like to talk about where your burnout started, just little tips and tricks kind of for people to be able to see what it might look like, because it's different for everybody. You know, I had a guest on that actually was physically burned on her body. She was going. I spoke with a woman yesterday, I believe it was, and she wound up in the hospital. She was like, oh, I was doing the things that I love, and I was going. And all of a sudden, like, my body shut me down for a month and I wasn't able to do anything. Yeah, that's your body will do that to you. Right? So it's different for everybody. And I want to get your story so that everybody can kind of hear what burnout looked like for you. And most importantly, how you recognized that you were actually in burnout. And then we'll talk about what we did to get out of it and how we're helping people now. Sound good?
I love it. Yes,
All right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So talk to me about these $20,000 days and how you were still, I don't know, not automatically happy like the gurus tell us we should be.
Yeah. So, like, I am somebody who figures things out. I've just always been that person. And then when I figure it out, I almost like I'm looking for that recognition that it was worth it, you know. And I feel like now that I've kind of done deep diving, I know that comes from my childhood and being a child of 5 and looking for that recognition. That was like my self-worth, that was like my love, that was to like proving myself. So I've always been that way, but also I've always been the person to figure things out. So back, you know, in 2020, I started looking into real estate investing. And when my husband and I started to look into this, first of all, I'm a very like optimistic person too. Like, cause I'm a doer, I think I always say if it can't be like, if there's some kind of roadblock that comes up, there's a path. It's either here or there. We just got to figure out what path is going to be the way to go. So that's exactly what happened in 2020 when I was like, I want to do real estate investing. And they were like, we don't have money to rub together. Like, how are we going to come up with a 20% down payment on this house that we want to get? And I wanted to do this to set ourselves up for future like wealth and stuff. And we had one daughter, had another on the way. And I looked into this. I'm a doer, so I had to figure it out. I'm like, there's people out there doing something because I know somebody who did something. So I'm going to talk to this person. I'm going to really deep dive into this. Figured it out. Needless to say, we used a special method that we were able to use other people's money to obtain properties, crummy properties, fix them up, and refinance them at the end with their new equity, which was a lot more. But it took a lot of work for me in that journey, right? And it was 18 months worth of a lot of ups and downs, and every single up and down, like I said, I've always been this optimistic person that could see both sides, like where we have to go. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to figure this out. And I always would. And at that time, during that 18-month period, I was also doing nursing. I was a nurse at a plasma center. And my motherhood was set in default parenting. I love my husband very much, but even before our marriage, I set into that woman should take care of the house, woman should take care of, you know, the kids. And he was able to, he's a very hard worker, and he has really great friendships, and he is somebody who his friends call on a lot because he's a mechanic. So he's always looking other people. And that's just who he is. And I never wanted to take that from him. So all of his time was his time. And I was just set in that taking care of the family, working my nursing job and then trying to figure out setting ourselves up for the wealth stuff. And we never changed that. So these things were slow. They're not things that you see right at the beginning. They are things that compile. And that's what happened for me because I had let that go for too long, the default parenting, and that really it set the tone because to ask him to halt everything and turn a whole new leaf right, in the middle of me starting to get to this burnout where I was like, I can't do this all, but not wanting to admit that I couldn't do it all. It's like crazy to ask that. But when I was in that 18-month period and we were going through these ups, and downs, and I was always the one to try to figure out, as this optimistic person and the doer trying to figure it all out, there came a point where I started to realize like I couldn't see the paths anymore. I couldn't, even though they were there, I was like just crippling, like crying and just like I can't even see where to go. I don't have that Alisha that was there before and I can't find her. It was so crazy. It was almost like I had depleted everything that I used to be. And then I came into this point where I started to resent my husband and resent like everything about him. And I had never been that. And like I said, he's a hard worker. He's a great guy. And but we had never addressed or started to shift. I just found myself not being able to be that person I was before. Or even I couldn't even get in touch with her. I couldn't see it. And I found myself needing to lean on my husband, which, I mean, we should be able to, but I was resenting him and having to lean into him. And I was speaking about him in a way that I would never to our friends. And it was terrible. I mean, we each had to go through our own shifts, definitely over, the last couple of years now after me hitting that point. But that point also had me quit my nursing job out of the blue too. I couldn't take it anymore. And it was something had to give. And I knew I needed a different and a change. So then I came into the online space and I really started to learn marketing. I really started to learn business. And then I was coming across the paths of women, these coaches and service providers, because I ended up going into EMDR therapy. I ended up going into therapy too. And I just started to see how much change that these women and these individuals make on people. But they're stuck in this taking on one-to-one clients and I didn't understand that there was a way to reach more. So I started joining masterminds and then I started to see that work actually happening and how to achieve that with scalability pieces. And I was like, okay, this is my calling. I am learning all that I can about this and I'm going to help to really make sure that these women, because then I was also seeing that they were talking about how they were burned out and they were tired and they were exhausted and they were getting to this point of resenting their business and the thing that they loved, not their clients so much, but the deliverability of it and what they were limited to. And that's when I was like, okay, I know what I have to do. Right. So then I started to really focus on that. But that burnout, like I always say, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy because it has you in the shower crippling. It's worse than just anxiety and the work that it takes to get out of it. I mean, I think it took me about a year to a year and a half to actually start to come back to a belief in myself and be like, you are worthy. You are still in there. Hello again. I see you. Welcome back.
Yeah, it takes a lot. And I know for myself, I had no idea. I just thought it was part of being an entrepreneur and being in the online space and like working and grinding and doing all the things. But, I hit my income goal and I was like, this sucks. I don't like
Yeah.
any of this. Nobody likes me. What's going on, right? Like I didn't even like myself anymore. And it was really, really rough. And if it wasn't for the people in my corner, just friends that I had met online, then I don't think I would have ever come out of it. Because my friends in real life, I have real life friends and I have online friends. My friends in real life that know me before, they were like, where is my friend? Why, like, we go out to the club and I wouldn't be dancing, They're
Yeah.
like, where are you? What's going on? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is, it was just kind of a numb feeling of just going through the motions every day and not really fully understanding why. But my friends in the online space, I mean, you want to do some personal growth, become an entrepreneur because it will kick you in the ass faster than any therapy session ever will.
Yes.
It was for them. They're the reason that they pulled me out of it, and just having conversations about not ditch that Instagram version and be real with people. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm kind of numb, or I was numb last year. This is what I did. This is how we can get you out of it," kind of a thing. And really leaning on that support is super, super important.
Yes, and find therapy if you or somebody that knows how to like what road map to take, or somebody who's willing to show you the things that you're unwilling to acknowledge. So like that's a lot of the EMDR work that I ended up doing. It was crazy how it really set into so like EMDR, it works a lot on trauma. I'm sure you know like that. So and it really pulled in it had me going back to my childhood too, and like that proving that self-worth and how that societal norms, they just stack. Everything stacks and it stacks and it stacks. And if you let it stack and you don't address it and you let those like thoughts of, what others are thinking about you or feeling, and you're looking for validation, you're going to stack so high that the pillar that you're acting as is going to break. And that's exactly what happened to me. And that's exactly what burnout is. Your body, your nervous system can only take so much. And I didn't even know anything about the nervous system. I was like, oh, that's a bunch of like woo-woo work. Like, oh, why am I breathing? But now with like, as a mom of three, I'm like, okay, breathe, Alisha. Like I cannot tell you how many times in my EMDR sessions, like, when I was closing my eyes and I was sitting there and she's asking me questions and I'm like, I'm thinking, and I'm thinking about this. And she's like, no, tell me how your body is feeling. And I'm like, this is so weird. What do you mean how my body's feeling? Like, we're in this constant thinking mode, and we're in this constant go, go, go mode that's, put in place by societal norms. And also, I would say the societal norms of 9-to-5 jobs where we're trading time for money. We're trading time for money. We're expected to do that. We're expected to prove our worth and our income, to get more there. So what I find is us as women, we actually take that same set thought into our business too. And we think that we need to build a business that's a job, that's a golden cage for us. And we don't see how can we actually like take back that time. So that's what like I focus on, is that yes, we're going to map out the journey that this looks like, and we're going to see, what that journey looks like for you and for your clientele. But when you're looking at it, you have to admit, like this is the first part of my program, you need to admit what you want. Like for me, like taking on one-to-one and one-to-one, I could do that right now. But in 6 months from now, would I be sitting here with the freedom that I want to go and drop things and do things with my kids? Or would I be back in that same situation I was how many years ago, where I was gone and working 80-hour weeks, and I was on the phone and I would get a note from my daughter and it says from school, my mom's the best. She's Happy Mother's Day. She loves her phone. Like that was like, oh no, I don't want that. I grew up without the parents being present. I don't have great relationships with my parents. I want that relationship for my kids, and I want to be there. and show them that there's a way for them to build that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. Like I want them to see the beauty in it, but I can't showcase the ugliness of it and then expect them to see the beauty in it, you know? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's
stopped.
so important. It's really important. My daughter once, I think it was last year or the year before, I can't remember, but my son made little fake paper laptops. He drew the keyboard, he went through the whole thing, and I asked her a question, and she pulled out the piece of paper and she flipped it open, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm working." He's like, "Oh man."
Yeah. And it's,
Right to the heart. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And
So
it's
really
funny,
like,
like, you know, it's the ages too. So my daughter's 8, and it didn't really start to like set in until she was like 7, 6, 7, like where I started to see, you know, they're sponges. So they're seeing what we're doing. And God, I would not wish like my daughter to feel the way that I did how many years ago, and that proving, you know, the worth, and that constantly having to be on, and not like I was always looking for ways to bring joy to other people, but not
yeah,
myself. Not myself. Like I was never worthy of that time, and I didn't make the time for that. So now it's like making sure like I take my time and I set my schedule, and my business model that I'm creating, it is I have that accountability piece. I admitted what I want, and I run every single offer, every single creation, every single thing that I do through that filter. You know, I have that set, and I'm like, 6 months from now, if I do this offer or if I create this offer this way, I know that it's going to drain my energy in a way that I'm not going to have this outcome in 6 months. And if it's a small, okay, I get like we have to build our businesses and stuff. And if it's a small energy depletion, or if it's going to take a little bit of time, it's a matter of finding the right time to create that. You know, that's where we have to admit that if it's a true thing that our customers need, or our clients, or whatever transformation we're going to bring. Yes, I'm not saying to not bring that to the table, but I am saying to bring it to the table in a way that fits your life. It's not about the other coaches coming and saying, "Oh, you have to take on one-to-one work. You have to do this. You have to build this." No, it's how can I give this transformation in a way that my clients will benefit from it, but it's not going to deplete me, because if I deplete me again, and if I go to burnout again, who's going to share the transformation that I have to bring to the table? You know? So,
yeah, yeah. That's super, super important as well. And that's one of the things that I work with my clients on is taking time for yourself, because we're not robots, right? We have to do things for ourselves that has zero direct benefit to anybody else. Yes,
yeah.
going out to a spa or going for a walk by yourself, that will benefit other people because you're not going to be a bitch. But it's solely for you. It's to fill you up, right? And to do things without technology, to give your brain that space to be creative, to do the thing that it's supposed to do, which is think, right?
Yeah.
Instead of constantly being on, go, 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 like give yourself a little bit of time, even if it's 5, 10 minutes. It does wonders. Your brain is like this amazing thing. There's billions of neurons in it that do
Yeah.
stuff all day long. And if you can just sit back and let it do its thing for even 10 minutes every once in a while throughout the day, you will see massive shifts in the way that you move through your day. I mean, I see it happen all the time, right? It happened not just to me, but it happens to other people that actually do the thing. I had a friend a long time, well, we're still friends, but a long time ago, we worked together, and she had anxiety, like constantly shaking, constantly like, what are we going to do? How are we going to like the chihuahua that like pees every time you go to the door, like that he's that person. And she made other people anxious, right? A gem of a human being. Like we're still friends, so I love her to pieces. But she started incorporating meditation. She started incorporating daily walks. She changed up her diet. She lifts weights almost every single day. And she is now a 180. She is the most calm, Zen person you will ever meet in your life. And she didn't do like, she doesn't take medication. She doesn't do all this. She literally just takes time for herself to connect with herself and her body. And it changes your physiology. It changes your brain and the way that you show up. It's very, very important as an entrepreneur to take care of yourself.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. And I feel like, so my reserves with that, when I first started in like recreating the business too, I was like, I have to be turned on. I have to show like this, I can't show people that I'm taking time for myself, because then they're going to say, well, she's selfish, or she's like, I was afraid of what my family would think, about the people around me who were like, well, you're not successful yet. Why are you taking time for yourself? Well, how am I supposed to pour into others? Like, and I tried to do it that way. And then I was like, I'm just so resentful again. I'm still in this resent land, like, so like you said, taking those breaks for yourself is not only self-serving, it is serving. And also, what are you showing to the people around you, the people that you're trying to help, if you aren't willing to set those boundaries, if you're not willing to take those, those moments for yourself? So that's why I focus so much. Yes, I want to help you create your business, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're going to have an offer suite created overnight. You're not going to have a business model created overnight. It's going to take work, but it's a matter of being able to see what you need, what your life needs, what you desire, and then what your customers need too, and I really focus on breaking it out into a customer journey so that we have reoccurring revenue, that we're having those individuals who love us, who are in our world, where do they go next? And not overwhelming them too, because being in the programs that I've been in, over the last few years, some of them are so overwhelming, and it's not a service to anybody if you're not meeting them where they're at. So that's where, I focus on in my business, but it's also focusing on the entrepreneur, because if you burn out, you're not going to be there to lead anybody or help them get to their transformation that they're coming into your world for.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And like we see it all the time, like people get sidelined by the hospital, right?
Oh
Then
yeah.
you're out.
You're out. I had a few moments in my 18 months where I was like, I actually started to have like really bad back pain, but they could never figure anything out. But I think it was anxiety. They ended up saying anxiety and stuff that was coming in. And it was causing like all of these just symptoms in my body that I had never had before. So
Yeah.
it's crazy the things that we put ourselves through. And like, it's awesome to have people, like us who have been through it, to be able to speak out about it. But it sucks for the people who have been through it, because it's been a long road to get back from, but it's, you gotta use your experiences for good. That's what I see it as.
Yeah. And as long as you learn from the lesson and don't repeat it again and again and again, and have like this burnout cycle now where you're like, okay, I'm ready to hit the ground, and I go, 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 go. And then your body shuts down again, I think it was twice that once my body shut down. The other time, like a friend of mine was like, you're being a bitch. I'm pretty sure you're hitting burnout. And I was like, oh, okay, let's take a step back here.
That was another part of the burnout, was my friendships. Like I didn't care what they thought. And also like I started to notice like I wasn't being invited to things, and like I was getting resentful about not being invited. But then looking back, I'm like, would I have invited me? Like, no. So it does a lot. It changes like like I said, your inside workings, and like your values too. And it just has you questioning everything. Had me, like I said, questioning motherhood, questioning my marriage, like being resentful, being just this empty shell of a person that I couldn't get myself back in. So
Yeah. Luckily for me, my husband loves me like more than his own breath. So when I'm in this space of like, he'll be like, hey, babe, you're not yourself right now. Or he can honestly tell me if I'm getting to a point, he'll be like, you know what, go take 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Just,
that's
10 minutes. You're right.
Maybe your
there
husband,
are,
your husband needs to write a book on how to support how to support a woman. I love that.
oh, he's so great. Like it's kind of sometimes I feel like I don't deserve how amazing he is because I can be kind of I'm an Aquarius. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I'm very like, don't touch me, leave me alone. I got this thing going on right here, and he deserves so much more. He deserves so much more than that. But yeah, and he listens to my podcast too, so he'll hear it, and then he'll come down and he'll be like, I deserve more. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. You should write a book.
Maybe we'll edit this part out.
Oh, I love it.
But there is. So we have this burnout where, it looks different for everybody else, but when you start working through it, whatever that means for you, even if it's something as simple as like joining a book club, getting yourself around other entrepreneurs, right? Maybe introducing yourself to somebody, like putting yourself in a space where you can be vulnerable and share a little bit about what's going on instead of putting that, what did you call it? The proof path, which I thought was super, super cool. Like just getting off that path for a minute and being vulnerable, because really when I'm my most vulnerable is when I connect with the most people. And that's when I see an uptick in not just my health, but like my sales and everything else goes on as well. And friendships, like people connect with you a lot more when you're real and not just like the Instagram version. So
yeah,
getting yourself in rooms where people, where you're okay with sharing your story, right? Like I have a couple shirts that have a couple phrases on them. One is I do what I want, and one is like IDGAF. Right? Those are like my mantras, because I don't care what you think, say, or do. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Whatever
See, but I
you do
did
over there,
so much.
your path.
I did so much until I came into the entrepreneurial space. Like, well, I wouldn't say until. It took me a while, but then I started getting in these rooms with other women, and I told my story. I remember being in a mastermind, and I told my story about like the default parenting stuff and the proving my worth and my husband, like, and the societal norms I had set into. And I cannot tell you how much that chat was like on fire, blowing up with, this is me, this is resonate so much. So talk about your journey and the struggles, because you might not see them as beautiful, but they could help somebody. They could help somebody who's struggling with that. And I feel like a lot of burnout comes from that, feeling like you have to prove yourself or feeling like you have to be perfect. And it's so ingrained in societal norms, and especially now like social media norms too. Like, so it's just, tell your story, get in the rooms, and especially with other women who have been through it. And then I think, the social media makes you think that if you get in those rooms, you're going to be judged by these women. But there are some amazing women out there who are just here to like lift you up and be by your side and want you to succeed. And don't be scared off by what's out there in society, in like social media stuff. And yes, there are programs that you should like avoid. But I mean, you'll be able to tell, like, don't go in the rooms where people are just shouting like, success, 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 and hustle harder,
Right.
And then there are the women who are like,
I've walked out of rooms, like I've gone to networking meetings, and within 10 minutes I was like, this is not for me, and I leave, because I'm an autonomous human being and I can do that. Right? Yeah. You don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to stay talking to anybody. You can end the conversation. Hey, this isn't going where I thought it was going to go, so see you later.
Yes. And knowing that, like, if people are saying things, this was a huge one. If people are saying things, or if you like post something and you're worried about the comments that are going to come back to you, just know that those are their opinions and their limiting beliefs. They are not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. That was a hard part. That was a really big one for me too. So
yeah. I the mirror analogy is really helpful for that. Like, everybody else is your mirror for yourself, but you are also other people's mirror. So whatever they push at you, that's for them to see. That's not for you to take in.
Yes.
No,
I like
I love that.
I like that a lot.
Wow. That was awesome. Thank you so much. That's really good.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can connect with you. And if you have any other links that you want to share, we'll share them down below, including, website, business link, whatever you have. Just let me know. But yeah, shout out where you are, what you do. Give me your 60-second.
Yeah. So like I said, I focus on service providers and coaches and bringing them out of that one-to-one work and that done for you work, that trading time for money. So you can find me over on Instagram at Alisha Business Coaching, and it's ALISHA. My parents didn't know how to spell. And then right now I am currently working on my core offering, which is Overflow and Profit Offer Suite, where I really focus on helping you formulate your business and formulate it in a way that feels good for you, but also focuses on having client retention, pulling in the dream clients, and getting where you're not trading your time for money. We focus on scalability pieces and how to structure those offers based on your expertise. So awesome. I'm over on Instagram. I'm over there. I'm trying to branch out more and more, but Instagram's my main place right now.
It's good to pick one.
Yeah. No burnout. Yep. So,
right. Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for hanging out with me today and sharing a bit of your story. I know the things that you talked about will definitely resonate with people. And guys, if it resonates with anybody who's reading this, just drop it down below and let us know that you're there too. If you need resources or, someone to talk to, like, we're humans. It's okay. You can email me, you can drop a comment and say, DM me, whatever. And we'll have a conversation, because this space is a lonely space and it doesn't need to be that way.
Yep. Find the people who are willing to help you. So I love this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alisha.
Thank you. I appreciate it.